welcome to the panel discussion of the future of NFT. I'm Sagar Barvaliya, Head of Venture Development at BlockRocket. I would like to take opportunity to discuss about a little bit about BlockRocket, what we are doing. Then I will introduce speakers. So basically, BlockRocket is like a leading startup accelerator and early stage investor in German ecosystem. We mainly focus on blockchain-based startups. We do, apart from investing, we do also matchmaking and marketing. We also give our startup advisory and mentorship. Apart from that, we also organize like time to time events and panels. And on top of that, any startup around the world can apply to our BlockRocket startup acceleration program, because we also invest outside of like German ecosystem blockchain-based startups, and but it has to some kind of focus on blockchain ecosystem. The next one, yeah, this is the BlockRocket team. Feel free to reach out to us or contact us if you have some question, or if you are planning to like apply for BlockRocket startup acceleration program or investment. We do like up to 150,000 euro investment into early stage startups. Okay, great. So today we have like 5 prominent blockchain projects working in NFT space, directly, indirectly. I would like to take an opportunity to introduce you one by one. So I would like to start with the Tim. Tim is like CEO and co-founder of Arkane Network. Thank you for joining, Tim, and glad to have you here. Can you please introduce about yourself and what you are building and what you are doing, what you are building like amazing stuff in the NFT space?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, Sagar. So I'm Tim Dierckxsens. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Arkane. And what we actually do is we try to help the businesses and primarily game studios make the most out of blockchain technology. And what we do is support multiple blockchains, translate it into what we call them APIs, and making it available for the game studios so that they can leverage blockchain and developing a monetization model around the technology. So basically, we help on 3 different pillars, as in we are a custody provider. We help to onboard mainstream users to the game or the application. We provide services to mint and to create NFTs on different blockchain networks. And we now also have a marketplace live on Polygon on Matic, which is at this moment the first marketplace on Polygon. So that is also very exciting, and it's all based around NFTs. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I got invited to join this panel around the topic Future of NFTs.
Thank you, Tim. We have a second speaker as Daud, CEO and founder of LicenseRock. Daud, glad to have you here. Can you please introduce about yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Daud from LicenseRock. I'm one of the founders there, and what we do is we apply license models or usage right models to digital assets. And with digital assets, I mean everything that could be a value of a customer. It's a broader definition than just those financial assets. It can be a picture, fashion, software, music. And we started in 2017 in a niche market with on-premise used software licenses, because we tumbled across a law of the European Union that states if you can prove the license, right chain, and the ownership chain, you can sell these. Think about server licenses or office licenses. And we got approached by a couple of people. They all had great ideas. And we always stated we want to build a product where we can license any kind of digital asset, but we kind of figured out that our first approach was too much focused on software. And right now we came up with a versatile NFT platform where you can create your own workflows to come up with license use cases for NFTs. You can mint, track, and manage these in our other application. And we have built an NFT Explorer around that, and how to extract and visualize the license metrics. And I guess that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Daud. Wonderful. We have another speaker as Arjun, Vice President of Polygon Network, previously Matic Network. Arjun, please introduce yourself.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Arjun and I head growth for Polygon. And what Polygon is that we're a scaling solution built on top of Ethereum to solve some of the scalability issues which Ethereum has traditionally faced, like for example, low throughput or high transaction fees. And of course, our main objective is to sort of really greatly accelerate blockchain adoption. We want, more and more users to be able to use blockchain. And for that, what we felt was it was super important to build the kind of infrastructure which would give like a Web 2.0 kind of experience, but in like a Web 3.0 environment. So for example, the same kind of performance you might expect on, let's say, an Uber app or a Netflix app, like you should be able to get the same kind of experience in blockchain. And if you can do that, then you can like get the next million users into Web3 technologies and sort of accelerate that adoption. So that is the main focus, and that's why we built the kind of infrastructure which we have. And of course, NFTs are super exciting. It's something which scales really well on our network. Sort of if you want to do simple things like creating NFTs or minting them, or if you want to transfer them, all of those things become very seamless and quick on our network. And of course, Arkane has built an amazing marketplace on our network as well, is doing extremely well, and they're scaling rapidly as well. We have many other exciting sort of teams building NFT projects on our network. So I've been like have been talking to lots of different NFT projects, and then trying to understand the business models and such. So that's a quick brief about me and Polygon, and yeah, I guess that's why I'm here.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Arjun. We have next speaker from Chainlink, Patrick. Can you please introduce about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hey, how's everybody doing? And again, thanks for having me here. Really excited to be here. So my name is Patrick Collins. I am a developer advocate on the Chainlink project. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Chainlink is a decentralized Oracle solution. So blockchains are these wonderful things, these magnificent things. We can build smart contracts. We can build things like NFTs on them, but they're walled gardens, right? They're kind of in their own world. So in order for them to actually interact with the real world, either getting real world data or doing some type of real world off-chain computation, they need some type of oracle into the real world. And that's actually the technical term for a device that inputs data from the real world onto said blockchain or exports data or computation off of the blockchain. So Chainlink is the decentralized oracle solution for getting reliable, transparent, secure data or computation onto your blockchain. So, and I'm really excited to be here and talk about NFTs and how Chainlink empowers NFTs and brings NFTs from being kind of these fun pieces of art to these programmable, exciting, provably scarce applications. And I do want to do a quick shout out actually, because at the beginning of this, we were talking about, hey, like, does anyone here actually own any NFTs? And I had to run to my bedroom really quick to grab one of grab like a physical copy of an NFT that I own. It's an EtherCats. Really, really cute. And they use Chainlink VRF to actually give them random attributes, hence the cute little Chainlink logo on them. So just I want to do a quick plug there since it's very on brand and on topic talking about NFTs.
Wonderful. We are looking forward to more questions. But of course, we have the last speaker. Everyone knows him. I think in Germany, we have like MD of high-tech Grunderfond, Alex. Alex, please say a few words.
Yeah, I'm Alex, Managing Director of the high-tech Grunderfond. high-tech Grunderfond, we are like almost 16-year-old public-private partnership. We invest in very, very early stage seed tech companies, all kinds of tech. It could be industrial tech, life science, and software. And as part of the software portfolio, we have since today, actually, or we announced today, 7 blockchain-related investments. The first one was 5 years ago, Barvaliya, early 2016, and the last one, Arkane Networks. Today we announced it. I'm very, very, very proud. And just one word, I think right now, the whole crypto space, but also the Bitcoin space, but also the NFT space feels like the internet 95. So you can really feel, you can sense a huge universe going up of new business models, new applications. You can sense that there's new companies being founded. So if today is 95, the equivalent, then Amazon is 1 year old. And Google will be founded in 2 years. And that's going to happen in this space. So it's totally exciting to see a new universe emerging. And I think that's great to be part of it. And having the ability to finance it is great.
Perfect, wonderful. Thank you, Alex. Just a short heads up for the audience here. Like we put like a link for the LinkedIn post where you can ask your question. You can write down your if you have any questions. I will try to text few of the question in between the panel discussion. Great. So moving forward, I would like to start with like, of course, like there is like lots of NFT hype going on, and I think 90% of people don't know what's NFT is there. So first question comes here for Patrick. Can you please explain us what is NFT and how we can create our own NFT? When if we say like NFT minting, it sounds so technical, but please try to explain to our audience like what does it mean?
Yeah, for sure. And then Sagar, I guess this is a question for you right back. Is the majority of this audience technical? Can I give the technical answer, or should I do the high level one?
I would suggest like the easiest one, like is like
one? Okay.
like 10-year-old kid can understand. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So NFT stands for non-fungible token, but in the simplest sense, it just means it's a unique asset or a unique token or unique thing, right? A great example of that is a piece of art, right? The Mona Lisa is a unique asset. It's a unique picture. It's a unique painting, right? There, you can make a copy of the Mona Lisa, but there's still only one original Mona Lisa, right? So that's like the physical version. So the blockchain version of that unique thing is called an NFT or a non-fungible token. To get a little bit more technical with it, non-fungible means it's not composable, right? So $1 bill is always going to be equal to another dollar bill. Dollar bills are considered fungible, right? Because they're interchangeable, they're composable in that regard. However, the original Mona Lisa is not going to be the same value as, you know, a copy that I drew, right? The one that I drew is probably worth negative money. Whereas the Mona Lisa is a priceless, cherished artifact. So that's kind of the main difference between a non-fungible token and a fungible token, which would be like, you know, the Link token or Aave or Synthetics or any of these governance tokens. But that's the main difference. Non-fungible tokens, they're unique. They're typically art on the blockchain, but they can also be programmed to do very cool stuff. And composable tokens can be interchanged.
Understood. Wonderful. Thank you. And so the second counter question would be like, how, what does it mean like NFT minting? How can we create from scratch our NFT?
Yeah. So when you mint an NFT, that really just means you deploy it to the blockchain, right? So the blockchain is this is a ledger, right? It's transaction after transaction, and so minting an NFT just means you add that NFT to a blockchain. So if you wanted to mint like an NFT and call it like Mona Lisa NFT, that would be when you make a transaction and add it to the blockchain.
Understood. Perfect. Thanks a lot. And one more question comes like there are like several ERC. So basically you said like a fungible token, which is like you can store in the Ethereum blockchain as a ERC20, but like there is like NFTs like non-fungible token. So there are like three types of like ERC, like 1155 and ERC721.
Yeah.
What is the difference between them?
Yeah, for sure. So ERCs are basically like Ethereum improvement proposals, or their EIPs. But so the ERC20 is kind of that token that we were talking about. The OG NFT is what's called the ERC721. And they, when you say ERC721, we're just referring to the proposal, the EIP, the Ethereum improvement proposal. Number 721, which, you know, gives this talks about the standard of, you know, what an NFT looks like. There are also NFT standards like 998 and 1155. We probably don't really need to get into kind of what exactly those means. One's like the multi-token and multi-token standard, and the other one's like the ownable NFT. I forget, but you just for simplicity, just think of them all as NFTs and being kind of unique pieces.
Understood. Perfect. Thank you. So now we know about NFT, what it is meant for, and like how we can make it. So my second question goes to Tim. I think he's working more in gaming space. So Tim, my question is for you: is like, what is the future of NFT and blockchain gaming industry?
Well, in the gaming space, I think if you talk about the use case of NFTs, it has a very broad use case, because if you look at the gaming landscape 10, 20 years ago, you used to buy a game. While nowadays, a lot of the games are becoming free to play. And every time you're playing the game, you also have in-app purchases, or you buy certain assets inside of the game. Well, each of those assets are digital assets, and they can either sit on the database of the game studio, or they can be registered on blockchain as a non-fungible token. And there are a lot of benefits to put it on blockchain, because then you're creating a public registry. And let's say you're today playing World of Warcraft, and in the future, they're going to say, you know what, all the digital items inside World of Warcraft, we're going to publicize them on the blockchain. And from that moment on, you can really prove the ownership because it's registered on the blockchain network. Furthermore, you can use that digital item and create a different game concept around that. So we actually see NFTs as a way you can bridge one game with another game. And then you're talking about creating virtual economies, virtual worlds across different games. And that is a very futuristic concept of using NFTs within games. And we already see that happening today. One of our biggest clients, is the Sandbox. We've helped them onboard more than 120,000 players, even though the game is not yet live. They've sold more than $2 or $3 million in digital assets, which is a representation of a virtual world. Think Minecraft or think Second Life. These are games that exist in the traditional sense. But each and every item within that game is an NFT. And they have 3 or 4 different types of players. You have people that buy the NFT as piece of the land. You have people that want to create games within the virtual ecosystem. You have people that design game assets in the form of NFTs. And then you have players. And each one of them, they need to interact with each other to be able to build the game together. So it's a very big user-generated content platform around the creation and the trading of NFTs, and where they build a virtual world together. So it's a very exciting space.
Understood. And what, in terms of like the benefit of NFT in gaming now, what is the value proposition you can see in long term?
Well, there are multiple value propositions. As one, gaming and free-to-play or play-to-earn is a lot about microtransactions. And then also cutting loose of distribution partners that take a lot of the percentage of royalty. Like if you look at Google, if you look at Apple, they recently dropped down from 30% of the in-app purchases that they take to 15%. I'm convinced without the threat of blockchain technology or without the threat of NFTs, they would still keep those margins that high. And with blockchain technology and NFTs, you're creating landscape where all the transactions can happen peer-to-peer. And the use case is all the different game studios, they don't have to be as big as they have to be in the past. As in the Sandbox is, concentrating around user-generated content. Most of the game creators, most of the artists that join that ecosystem, they're not employed by the Sandbox. They're part of that ecosystem, and they have a benefit to build that world together.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Tim. So the next question goes for Daud. As we are working in licensing industry, what do you think? What is your biggest hope that this NFT hype will trigger, and how NFT can change licensing industry?
Yeah, well, first of all, like whenever we are talking in the blockchain space with any kind of potential customers, there's always a large education part. And since we have that NFT hype, there are a lot of articles and people are getting into it. So that's one check for me. I don't have to talk too much about blockchain anymore and educate. People know about it. Then along with that comes the adoption. Like we saw in that ICO wave in 2017, early 2018, a lot of innovation departments of corporates were trying out things. And right now, I think we have the second wave where these people are trying out things. And that's really important because we're in that blockchain bubble. But if people from the other world are coming into that blockchain space and are seeing other opportunities, exciting stuff is happening and ideas are getting created. The we probably wouldn't have thought of. And then my biggest hope is like there's a lot of still gray zones around legal frameworks that we have. So I think we have right now that hype, then there's going to be like a lot of people which are burning themselves. They are trying to sue people, and then legal kicks in. And then it gets really exciting, especially for licensing. And for licensing overall, we always say like the whole license system and nowadays is kind of broken. There's, I read once that one article that states like, if you really want to understand what you're always signing, it takes you 2 to 3 years of your life. So no one is really reading a license agreement, and it's really that small font and extremely long. But we think a license is always around the commercial side, the legal side, and the technical side, and it's has to do something with ownership. And an NFT gives us the opportunity to all combine that. And that's what I think is really exciting. And we can do licensing again in a nicer way, because if you think about licensing, you always think about something negative most of the times. But that's why we called ourselves License Rocks, because we think a license can be something positive as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Daud. My next question to the Arjun. First of all, what was the reason behind rebranding of Matic network to the Polygon network? And how are you like democratizing or like influencing the NFT space by having new protocol?
Oh, sure thing. So I think when we started in 2017, and when we first started talking about Ethereum scaling, it also was actually with the backdrop of an NFT movement, which was CryptoKitties, and which started in 2017 and sort of ended up wrecking the entire Ethereum network. And of course, serious questions were asked about is this scalable? Like, what if there's another crypto kind of game? Will Ethereum just stop working? So that's when the earnest discussions started around scaling. And in the primary thinking around scaling was using plasma technology, which Vitalik had proposed at the time, to scale Ethereum and to allow for all of these different use cases and how you would support like many different NFT games and things like that. Now, that's when we started as well. So in 2017 is when we sort of started researching this technology, and we came up with our production ready chain, which is our Plasma. It's a hybrid Plasma POS chain, where we also use Plasma technology to sort of make sure all the assets are secured on Ethereum, so that all your NFTs, liquidity, whatever is happening on the Polygon chain is protected by Ethereum security. But it also has a proof of stake consensus mechanisms, which makes it very high performance. But if you fast forward to today, 4 years from then, like there are many different scaling techniques available today, right? So people today are talking about optimistic rollups, ZK rollups, and there might be some new scaling solution in the future as well. So what we kind of realized is that when you talk about scaling the Ethereum ecosystem and bringing in those hundreds of thousands of millions of users who are going to get into gaming, who are going to get into NFTs, the future will have multiple different scaling techniques. It's never one solution which fixes all the problems, right? Every technology has its advantages and disadvantages. So there are bound to be multiple ways to scale Ethereum and to allow for these, wonderful things like NFTs. So what we kind of realized is, and what we should build, like if you were to think about scaling Ethereum for the future, what we wanted to build is one umbrella under which all the different scaling solutions would be available, all governed by one token. And this would give the developer the maximum amount of flexibility with respect to the kind of solution he or she wants to build. So you'll have a tried and tested Polygon POS, chain, which has over 200 apps deployed. But you'll also have we're also researching optimistic rollup chains, ZK rollup chains. Again, something new might come up in a few months from now. We'll do that as well, and bring all scaling solutions under one umbrella. And by doing this, by making things easy for the developer, by keeping things EVM compatible, which is the same as Ethereum, by using the same ERC style assets, which are prevalent on Ethereum, not by having our own token standard, by using the same ERC style assets, which developers are used to and users are used to as well. We can create this kind of ecosystem where it is easy to interact. It's fast, it's inexpensive. So for example, on our network, the block time is 2 seconds. So in 2 seconds, your transaction is final. So if you click something within 2 seconds, the transaction's final. And at the same time, for about $10, you can do 2 million transactions. It's virtually free. And when you can bring this kind of high performance to the blockchain world, then doing NFTs at scale becomes easy. So like, we typically always read about these $100,000 NFTs, $1 million NFTs, and we're like, wow, who's buying all this? NFTs are crazy and all of that. But what we feel, if you project maybe a couple of years down, or maybe 9 or 10 months from now, the average NFT will probably be a $5 or $10 NFT. It's possibly, it could be even just $1 NFTs. And if you want to transfer $1 NFTs, if you want to get some value out of that the asset which is that low in value, the network has to support this kind of movement. Like you cannot possibly do this on Ethereum because the gas fees of any normal transaction would be $20. So you can't sell a dollar NFT. While on our network, you can sell an NFT for 50 cents profitably. So this greatly supercharges like what you can do within the NFT space and the gaming space, which is primarily also built around NFTs. And that's what we wanted to do, is build this kind of infrastructure which would sort of allow for all of these different business models to exist and sort of grow. So yeah.
Thank you, Arjun. The next, okay, we have like enough discussion on like some kind of what is NFT and so. But my next question goes to Alex. We of course need like some bias for NFT, right? So I think what are your opinion, Alex, on like macro and micro view on crypto space and in general NFT hype?
So I'm extremely bullish. As I said, I think it's like the internet, and it's opening up a universe that's much bigger than we can imagine. And so on the crypto space, I think Bitcoin will lead the way. It will appreciate a lot more, and that will create capital and energy that will fund many other things. Also the NFT space, and I think the NFT space is especially interesting because the saying everything's going to be tokenized, and that really addresses NFTs because if you look at the world, most things are non-fungible. They are individual pieces of stuff and rights, and so the universe of possible NFTs is huge. It's not just pictures, and it's not just games. I think it's a great start, but it's everything that's individual. So the birth certificates, the diploma, real estate, everything is non-fungible. It's individual, and everything is embedded in its own ecosystem, in its own value chain. So the different types of NFTs with its different universes, ecosystems, value chains will create opportunities for new solutions, for new business models, and for rearranging the value chains, which means startups that can disrupt existing value chains. So that's extremely bullish, and I think the imagination is not enough to foresee what can happen. So, for example, if you treat a university diploma as an NFT, and you put it on the blockchain, and you think about headhunting, recruiting processes on a blockchain with a two-second block time being very fast, you could imagine certain process times collapsing from weeks and months to 2 seconds. And that will change the world in a way we cannot imagine today, because we cannot imagine. In Germany, a real estate transaction takes, I think, 4 or 8 weeks. It takes forever, a long time. So if that collapses to 2 seconds, it's changing everything totally. So my perspective is extremely optimistic, and I think extremely creative. And that's where the entrepreneurs come into play, because they are the ones who imagine and do things that are not done before. Extremely positive.
Thank you, Alex. But my second question comes here. Like, you've been investing in the startups since long time. You have seen the rise and fall of many trends as well as startup trends, right? So where do you see the potential of NFT space in general comparison? Like, is the rise of internet, social media boom, or something other?
How do I compare the NFT space? It's like the internet. It's not, social media is one huge application on top of the internet. And I think the crypto space is the foundation. And on top of that, there will be many big universes. And I think NFT is not just one big application, because it's a universe in itself. So I think in a way it could be as big as the internet, because everything is non-fungible, and everything will be tokenized in the next 10, 20 years. And you know, people used to write their master thesis on a typewriter. It's hard to imagine, but that's what they did. And today we use our smartphone for everything. You know, it's like a black hole that collapsed many devices and applications. And I think the same scope of change will be driven by the crypto space in general, but also by the NFT space. It will be unimaginable, huge, very big.
Perfect. Thank you, Alex. My next question goes to Patrick. Patrick, there were like article by Chainlink published like 16 ways to create dynamic NFTs, right? So what are your top 3 picks on that?
What are my top 3? That's a hard question. Actually, let me just pull it up. Create dynamic NFTs. Yeah, because I've created a whole bunch, and without actually even looking at the article, I can say like some of my favorite ways are going to be creating digital assets that have proven scarcity or proven rareness, right? A lot of protocols are using the Chainlink VRF, like Avagochi, EtherCats, I think EtherCards too. They're using this Chainlink VRF to create provably random NFTs. And if you have a provably random NFT, it's going to have proven scarcity, right? So if you build an NFT, especially, as Tim was talking about, like in the gaming space, and say, okay, this sword, this weapon, this item is provably random, then you have a provably scarce NFT, right? And if you're the one who has it, there's a good chance that you have the only one of its kind, the only one of its stats or something like that. So technically, that's not a dynamic NFT. Just for clarity, when we're talking dynamic NFTs, we're talking about NFTs that change over time, right? So like, let's say your NFT changes based off the weather or based off the price of an asset or based off whatever. That's generally what we're talking about with dynamic NFTs. But you can do a lot more than just create dynamic NFTs, like creating NFTs with provably scarce attributes. But I'm looking at this now, and I think some of my favorite are going to be kind of like competition like NFTs or NFTs like based off of like some real world event, for example, like a playing card, right? Or like in a video game. I love the video game reference because it's really easy to kind of feel that analogy there. If you have an NFT that represents maybe a basketball player or a baseball player, and its stats actually change depending on the performance of the athlete, to me that's really exciting, and to me that's something that Chainlink enables, right? Having this oracle to see the real world, to get the results of that athlete to put into your NFT is amazing, and you can have these really fantastic NFTs that change, right? That do these things. So I think game performance or having any type of NFT that changes based off of somebody's performance, I think is really, really exciting. I think some type of event-based reward is really cool too. So like, for example, if somebody has a concert or something, and maybe you're in the front row and you get minted an NFT because you were in the front row or something like that, or any type of ticket or something like that, but that can change based off of what happens in that event. Or maybe you get like an NFT like punch card with like the number of times you've been to like a restaurant or something like that. To me, these are all really, really exciting. But I also think, to dive in a little bit more specifically, we've had some ideas on like a mannequin, right? Or like a fashion model or something that changes their outfit based on the weather. To me, that's really fun. That's really exciting. I'm probably a little bit biased because I think NFTs can be applied in the gaming space so easily, and I used to be a gamer, so I think there's so much that can be applied there, and so much amazing pieces that can be applied there, and especially having provable randomness, right? Whether it's like loot boxes or map generations or spawn points, whatever. There's so many areas where you need randomness. Excuse me, and that's where the Chainlink VRF comes into play and can help all these gaming NFTs as well. So I also think, and then I'll cut myself off before I keep going too far. I also think doing something with the Chainlink Keepers, which actually just recently came out, where your NFT actually changes based off of some certain specific upkeep or some certain event that you kind of you code into the NFT. It's going to be really exciting. I mean, this whole space and it gets me really excited, and having these NFTs that can change based off these real world interactions is just like that article says 16 examples of where you can go, but I think the list really goes on and on, right? Because if you have the ability to interact with the real world, you basically have unlimited customization right there.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Team, I think Arkane is providing like one place stop, right? I think creating NFT, you can store it and then you can also sell it on marketplace. So is it the right one place? Can you please tell us more about like what is like Arkane offering in terms of like NFT minting till like selling on NFT marketplaces?
Yeah, we indeed offer what we call the three important pillars, as in a custody wallet. And for mainstream users that don't know what a private key is, we help them manage the private key. They get easy to use blockchain wallet where they can see the NFTs, the inventory within that wallet. If they forget the PIN code, that is a 4 to 6 digit code that they set to secure their own wallet. That is something that we can help them recover so that they don't need to sweat with the potential loss of their funds because either they threw away the computer or they did not store the private key securely. Then the second tier is the ability to mint, and we do this through API. So any developer or like also Arjun posted the web interface so that you can provide that web page some information and press on the button, and that will mint an NFT for you. But we have the APIs, the backend technology available, so you can do that easily as well. And finally, the marketplace where people can come buy, sell, and trade. But I would like to jump back on what Patrick was saying. The ability or the value that you can create with NFTs. What we did a couple of months ago is, I think everybody knows the Smurfs. The Smurfs, the little blue, well, not animals, but yeah, what would you call them? Figurines. Super popular in the 80s. Right now in the sandbox, this is a game studio creating a virtual world. They actually bought the license of the Smurfs so that they can be built within the sandbox. And within the sandbox, they're creating a game with the right licenses. So Dowd will be very happy about that, to build NFTs on the sandbox to build a Smurf game. But you can take this so much further, because in China, the Smurfs, they have a theme park. And what would you actually be able to do? You could extend fans' loyalty that they have within a game and actually provide tickets to go to the theme park. And if that specific user comes up, says, okay, give me my entry ticket, show me your NFT, they can take that NFT and do some ticketing, as in go to all the different rides. And then there you have the real world example saying, okay, this is an NFT that actually went to the theme park. They went on different attractions, and the stats of that specific NFT can really change. And that is creating real world value outside of the game and inside of the game as well. So another thing that we've also been adding is support of artists selling their own NFT to their fan base. And why is that so important? Well, they're selling the NFT, so it's a collectible item that they're selling. And they're then adding more value to that by saying, okay, every month or every couple of months, we're going to give away some promotional material to the people that own that specific NFT. And this can be in the form of other NFTs. So, for example, YouTube influencer, they sometimes have their own brand merchandise, t-shirts. They can decide to either give away promo codes, which is quite boring, to be honest, or they can give away branded NFTs, saying, okay, this is a virtual t-shirt. And then the people that own the original collectibles, they said, oh, thank you for my free t-shirt. They can either redeem it, saying, okay, now send me the physical one, or they can say, thank you, but I like the hat, I'm going to keep that one, but I'm going to resell that specific NFT because the t-shirt, I already have one. And that gives value both to the original buyer, but also to the NFT creator, because there's always a percentage of fee that goes away, even though that the secondary buyer sells it or resells it on the marketplace.
Understood. Then next questions come from artist side. I have interacted with so many artists, and they said there are issue of stolen artwork from the artists. Let's say there's some small base artist is doing wonderful thing, right? And then some influential artist just copy paste his work and just selling it on the marketplaces for higher prices. How can we how can we reduce this thing? I mean, how can artists get beneficial more, without even if they don't have any influence based on YouTube?
That is an issue that is independent of blockchain technology. That is just something that is always an issue. If you look at how the marketplaces are doing it and how we're solving it, is we need verified collections. So a market like eBay is also peer-to-peer, so you can really sell knockoff products over there, and it's very difficult to flag that. In OpenSea and Arkane and the different art marketplaces, we use what we call verified collection. And then we get additional information of the artist himself, and then we can verify whether he is indeed the original owner of that. This is a curation part that is necessary, even though you're using blockchain technology. And what you then want to do is try to protect the buyers on the marketplace, saying, okay, guys, everything that is verified, you can be sure this is a trusted source. And we as marketplaces, we vet it in a certain way. But yeah, there are other items on blockchain technology, because it's a public registry, that people are trying to scam other people. And what we have to do is we have to try to block that as best as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. My next question comes to Daud. What do you think? How long this NFT hype will go away? And what do you think? What is the next big thing in NFT space?
How long that NFT hype? Well, I think it will stay. But right now we have that hype and that artwork, and I sometimes see prices where I don't really know who's paying that and what for, especially if we look at the usage rights behind it. If you can do something with it, if you can create value with an NFT, as Tim explained, totally makes sense to me, but I see too many still stupid NFTs, I would call them, where there's nothing behind it. I think there we're gonna have a sharp decline in prices if people are starting to realize that they can't monetize that afterwards, or they are finding no one who's willing to pay more for that, because that's the whole game. It's about greed. But I think what's really exciting is that a lot of people who never came in touch with blockchain right now, for the first time, experience something that is an NFT. And I'm really excited about what are their thoughts on how they can create business models around it, what I stated before, because it's always difficult if you just talk to people from your space and just do the one or other talk with people who are a little bit familiar about it. Then if you have people who are just reading an article, see it's interesting and trying to apply something else. And that's where real innovation is happening. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I think it will just stay. And the last part that needs to be covered is also what I mentioned, is the legal part. Like once we have that set, as Alex stated before, it's gonna be tokenize the world, right? Like an NFT stands for a thing. There are so many things out there where it might make sense or might not. We have to think about that. Yeah, I don't believe in tokenizing everything if there's no value behind it. But if you can start creating value and start shifting between digital and the physical world, as Tim explained with that Smurf example, then it gets exciting, and then people will realize what they can do with it. And I mean, that space is so fast, you will see every single day new ideas, and I think it will stay big time.
Let's see. I mean, that's a really good question raised by you. I mean, let's see. Then I would ask my colleague Alexandra for the poll. Let's quickly do the poll that how many people so far bought the NFT. So Alexandra, please put it on the screen. Then let's see the what audience are thinking about if they have already bought the NFT or not. Yeah.
How many bought an NFT? Arjun, what's my estimation?
Yeah. Yes, it's like you didn't bought it. You bought it under the 1 Ethereum, like more than 5 Ethereum, or like more than 10 Ethereum amount of NFT you bought. So I think we can see like there is like 83% of people still like, wow.
5, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's quite amazing.
Yeah, like we have like so far 62% voting. Sorry, Alex, go ahead. Yeah.
So me personally, I didn't buy an NFT yet, and I actually just put it in my to-do list to buy one. Just want to see how it goes.
Yeah, this is just like quickly like a poll, but it's a really good thing, I would say.
But I created an NFT, one of my tweets, but unfortunately no one cared.
Okay, unless Paul goes further, let's my next question comes to you, Alex. Like, are high-tech Grunderfond is like planning to invest into like you have already put it like in like 7 different crypto blockchain-based startups, but are you also planning to invest into some artists or like some NFTs as in like a fund from high-tech Grunderfond?
So unfortunately, directly in token or in NFTs, we were not allowed to invest, unfortunately. And maybe we change that with the next fund coming up next year. But I think, so it's called high tech, and that's the focus, high tech, but it's also about innovation, disruptive business models. So, so we did do e-commerce investments in the past. Not many,
okay,
but a few. So if there's innovative business models around NFT with like lower tech or tech supporting the business model, that could be a focus. So investing directly in an artist, maybe not, but in someone who creates a business model around artists, yes.
I think thanks a lot for the answer, Alex. But the second question come to you is from audience. So one of the audience asked like, would NFT from the Mona Lisa be covered by the Europeans' latest regulatory proposal on MiCA, as it is not a financial instrument or e-money? And how would you think would MiCA relate to existing laws covering the selling physical objects? Wow, what a question.
My daughter is just doing her final classes in math, and I didn't understand what she's doing, and I didn't understand the question at all. So and maybe the fact that I don't understand the question is the answer. There's no regulation yet, and it's open. And in order to find an answer, I would go to Switzerland or Liechtenstein, because I think they are most advanced in any regulation around it. And as I understand the entrepreneurs, they are rule breakers. So I think that's a perfect opportunity to break rules and just create the facts and create, convince the artists to create NFTs and then break the rules that don't exist yet, and thereby defining the rules.
To add a quick different thought there, actually. So so I'm not a lawyer myself. So when it comes to law stuff, like, I don't know, I'm a developer, right? I'm an engineer. But I did watch an interesting interview. I think it was on the Unchained podcast with Laura Shin. If you guys want to check that out, she actually did an interview with 3 lawyers on NFTs. And so if you're looking for an answer from people who actually know the law and stuff, I would recommend go watch that out, because it did give me some good insight.
Perfect. Thanks, Patrick. So I think the poll is ended, and I think I can clearly see 79% of people didn't bought so far any NFT, and only 2% of people bought more than like 10 Ethereum worth of NFT. So like there are like lots of lots of education need to be done and lots of work to be done so far. But then other question comes from audience as well, as I think then Arjun, you can answer very well. That's like any insight on other blockchains rather than Ethereum, where you see a potential favorable ecosystem for NFTs, for example, IOTA or like EOS with its transaction fees less approach, or like Cardano?
Right, so Cardano doesn't have smart contracts, so I'm not really sure how they're going to be supporting NFTs. Although I did see something out there that they had some plans for NFTs, so I'll have to look into that. With respect to some of the other ecosystems, so I would say so definitely hands down, Ethereum is the largest ecosystem, and there are a bunch of reasons for that. It's not just the number of users. There's also a level of composability in the system that you can, let's say, buy an expensive NFT, then you should be able to do some DeFi or decentralized finance with it, right? Like take an expensive NFT, use it as collateral to maybe, let's say, borrow some money and then put that to work and do those kind of fancy things. And for that, you need a very composable system, which is why Ethereum has been so popular. Some of the other ecosystems which have done pretty well, I must admit. So, for example, I don't know if you looked into NBA Top Shots. So this was on the Flow blockchain, right, where they had created, like, I got to say, quite optimized experience where you can use, let's say, your credit card, etc., to buy some, let's say, an NFT very quickly and based on the NBA, and so that's one interesting example I've seen. Apart from that, I have seen NFTs on a few other blockchains. For example, Vax blockchain, I think, which is a derivative of EOS, has some NFTs there. But the vast majority tend to always be and will continue to be on Ethereum, simply because there are more chances to trade that NFT. There are more chances to do things with that NFT. I think blockchains who are following a walled garden approach where they want to keep things within a particular system and not allow interoperability, eventually, while they may do well now, that kind of idea eventually is not very scalable. So I think Ethereum is hands down the best, but yes, like there are a few other examples of chains which have done some interesting things there.
Perfect. Thank you. I think we are running out of time. We have like only 10 minutes left, but I would still like to take opportunity and ask you each of the panelists one more question. So, but please try to keep it short. But I will start with Patrick. Patrick, what do you think? How can we educate the mass? I mean, more than 90% of the people don't know about NFT. What are your plans to educate them?
Yeah, I mean, that's the golden question, right? How do we teach both developers and kind of the general retail masses like about NFTs and about the value add that they bring in and and what they can do? I think the first step is doing kind of what we're doing right here, is talking about it, us having these conversations, saying, hey, here's what an NFT is, here's the value add, here's why it's fun, here's why it's good. I mean, that's the easiest bit, and then raising awareness and by showing people what you can do. And then from my own perspective, obviously, I feel my role is to kind of help build tutorials and show people how to build them and show people what they can do and show how composable they are. But yeah, for more the general masses, I think this is it right here. And for me, this kind of applies to all smart contract applications as a whole, right? Because NFTs are this piece of this massive overarching topic of smart contracts and these trustless agreements that they have. And I think talking about that and showing people kind of the power of smart contracts and the power these blockchains have and the ways that they can affect our everyday lives. If we bring that value add and the retail and the regular, the regular masses understand that, then it's easier to transition them into NFTs because they're already familiar with these smart contracts that make their lives better.
Thank you, Patrick. The next question goes to Tim. There was like a question from audience. They said like when NFT will be traded on exchange like utility tokens, although being NFTs, but how do you raise the money for NFT and will there be any kind of volatility on marketplaces? So as you are like providing the marketplace for NFT, what are your thoughts on it?
Is then the question more like I'm going to use an NFT to raise funds?
Yes, or like something like tradable, like we are like trading on like marketplaces, like you trade like Chainlink or Bitcoin or Ethereum. And what do you think like volatility in terms of like buyers and seller market makers?
Well, yeah, that's a little bit of a different question, because how would you create liquidity on a non-fungible token?
Yes.
So that's kind of like going against everything that's fungible, and you're creating an exchange. How you can? It's easy to create liquidity around a token like Bitcoin because it's fungible, but the concept of non-fungible tokens is it's unique. So you cannot create a buyer or a seller market for a specific NFT. What you can do is raise awareness between buyers and sellers, saying, okay, look, here is an NFT that the people can buy and sell and trade. So, yeah. could do it, because essentially you can do that for stocks and shares as well, which is, in my opinion, unique. But perhaps that's like another market that is yet to come to life around NFTs.
And if I may chime in, like there have been some approaches out there. So for example, you can fractionalize NFTs. So some people have taken, let's say, $100 NFT, broken that down into $1 pieces, and then tried to create some liquidity there. And also, there have been some interesting approaches on swapping NFTs, right? So for example, using, let's say, Chainlink, if you can figure out the verifiable price of an NFT and the price is the same, then you can swap it. Just like, as kids, you would swap like trading cards and be like, okay, this is similar value. No, you should give me two of those, for this one. So those kind of interesting, swapping kind of dynamics are going to be soon into place. And that's where you need like Oracle services, you need marketplaces to, make those kind of things happen. So there are some interesting approaches people are trying, but it's not very mainstream yet.
Yeah, it took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but yeah, if you use an oracle to get the price of the asset, from the real world, you can then use it to do swapping, or what we've seen that I think is actually really interesting. It's putting an NFT down as collateral for like some type of loan, right? Because now you have the price of that NFT, you can use it to like take out a loan, or an over collateralized loan or something like that. So yeah, some really, really fantastically exciting advancements happening there.
Then comes to the like a Daud. One more question, like why did you choose like a music as in your NFT projects? Would you like to give us a short summary, like within like 1 minute? Would be good.
Yeah, well, we did like tons of interviews, and like I used to collect record labels. Record labels would be nice. Records back then, yeah, and each record has like that cover, and we see that cover as something that represents a canvas for any kind of digital art. And we talked with tons of artists, and they said most of them said they are getting influenced also by music. Like a lot of them are drawing while they are creating, they are listening to music, so they can tell in their art piece what kind of music they heard before. So there's a logical link already between them, and we have like several launch partners, and whysoever they all were somehow attached to the music industry, and I think we can come up with nice ways there also for the fan base. That's why we decided to go for music first.
Understood. Thank you. The question next for the Arjun. Which are the NFT projects you find exciting?
So there's several projects nowadays doing super interesting things, right? So I think number one which comes to mind is Avagochi, right? So which is using a bunch of different concepts to create this very interesting experience for the user, right? So they're using, let's say, so like how Patrick said, they're using VRF to create very unique NFTs with unique characteristics. These NFTs are ERC1155, so you can sort of add more NFTs into that NFT. So you can you can imagine like a character, and if you put a dress on a character, so that NFT dress goes into that particular NFT. So you're stacking NFTs now, and these NFTs are also accruing value with time. So there's a DeFi element there as well. And then also within these NFTs, you can also put in ERC20 tokens. So it's an amazing way of bringing in a variety of different concepts and really kind of showcasing what NFTs can do, right? Even if all of these concepts in there, like if you were to take them one at a time, it'd still be amazing. But to combine all of this together, and this is kind of what I'm seeing now when I talk to projects these days, right? So this has been inspiring for many other developers to look at NFTs in a different way. They're like, oh, okay, interesting. So I can put ERC20 tokens inside NFTs. So NFT is like now a lottery ticket, right? And that lottery ticket could have any ERC, any amount of ERC20 tokens in there. And then Patrick talked about dynamic NFTs, right? Where you can like bring in real world information. And so, for example, you can create some very unique experiences out of those kind of NFTs, right? So these would be NFTs whose value would dynamically change. For example, in that sportsman example, which Patrick used, the sportsman is doing really, really well and his stats are highest, and the NFT should be more valuable. And then there's a race to, sell that NFT while it's valuable before, something bad happens. And all sorts of interesting dynamics there. So I think Avagochi stood out. Then of course, other like projects I've seen out there. So one of the other interesting ones is Neon District, which is like a metaverse game with all sorts of different NFTs fighting and this metaverse game out there, and Mega Crypto Poly has also done the same thing. Like they've taken their real estate sort of NFT, right, where you can buy virtual real estate, and now it's going to become this immersive world where you can, other people can rent that real estate to build something inside that, and really wild.
Arjun, sorry to interrupt you, but thank you for your answer. I would like to take opportunity to ask one more question to Alex before he hop into another meeting. So Alex, here comes my last question for you. Like, is NFT GDPR compliance, yes or no? And then do you think the German VCs are likely to go deeper into NFT as well as digital asset space? And what lessons can we learn from Silicon Valley-based venture capital firms when it comes to investment into new innovation technology like blockchain?
I understand the first question. Is NFT too complex, or what was the question?
No, is it like a GDPR compliance?
GDPR, very bad. So I answer the second one first. So first of all, are the German VCs likely to finance? Yes and no. So we have a few VCs who have understood the whole blockchain space. And the problem with the VCs is they are like the Warren Buffett school. Like companies need to create value, and crypto, like especially Bitcoin, doesn't create value, like just like gold. So many VCs are skeptical about the crypto space, and maybe they're too old to learn. But then there's also many VCs who are specialized and are open and see the potential. So the answer is yes and no. What can we learn from the Silicon Valley? I think what we can learn from the Silicon Valley is if something new comes around, try it out. And in the US, people see something new and they say, "Ooh, something new, it might work. I'll try it out." In Germany, a little bit, the people say something new, it might not work. I'll wait. So what we can, and I said I put in my to-do list this weekend, I will buy an NFT just to try it out. And I think that's what we should do. With the data protection thing, I think that's a little bit very complex. I get all the complicated questions. Well, I think if personal information is attached to it, we need to be careful. And I think it makes sense because our data, spreading our data could make us vulnerable as companies, but also as individuals. So I think we need to be careful about that. I think it's important. It saves our personality right. Sometimes the discussion is a bit too strict in Germany because it prevents innovation. So there could be a data protection issue. Let's do nothing with it. So that would be wrong. So again, it's a regulation aspect. But as actors in the market, we need to be considerate about it, but we shouldn't be afraid about it. So it shouldn't prevent us from acting.
I can actually chime in here. First, Alex, of course you can buy NFTs. I'll give you the link right after the call so you can buy it on Arkane. Another thing about GDPR is, well, we are a European company, so we have to be GDPR compliant. We are a custody provider. A lot of our competitors would say they're non-custodial in some way or another because you can go into really legal regulation around this, and we would be able to do the same. Also call ourselves non-custodial because we allow people to export the private key, but that's a little bit too technical. But we onboard users using social, Google, Twitter, Facebook. So we do have some data from those users. We link blockchain wallet to the users, but we of course do not share the data with our partners or anything around that. So we do not give private information that people share with us. That's one way to stay compliant. On the other hand, when people come to us saying, okay, I want you to delete my wallet, or I want you to delete my account, we are by law obligated to support that request. So then we have to ask, you do realize this is a blockchain wallet. We cannot delete it from the blockchain. So what we have to be able to say is, okay, you can export the private key, and then you can take your wallet and go somewhere else. And then we can delete your profile on Arkane. And that is how you can stay GDPR compliant within the blockchain space, even though you're creating on the blockchain something that should exist forever.
Perfect. Great. Thanks a lot. Just last question, but you can just frame it to the time before. I think everyone is in hurry. We already exceeded the 4 minutes, but I would like to still take 1 more minute. So when do you think, so this is the question for all of the speakers. When do you think the major ticketing events like crickets, baseball tournaments, or like football match like Bayern Munich or like BBB will start using NFT for issuing tickets? You can say just like a time frame. I will start from Patrick.
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at the time here. I'm getting pinged to get pulled off. Apologies, real quick. Could you repeat the question?
So how long, when do you see like the major like sporting events will start issuing NFTs as tickets for the audience?
That's a good question. And the answer is going to be
just like tell me the like time frame, 1 year, 2 year, or like 6 months, or like next week.
I'm anticipating less than a year.
Less than a year. And then Tim, what do you think?
Mainstream, 3 to 5 years.
Dawood?
Yeah, I would say also 2 to 3 years because of the whole lobby behind it, not because of the tech.
Arjun?
Yeah, I would say again, like it would take at least 2 to 3 years because the regulatory structures which are so slow to move would take some time to adapt to this. But yeah, it should happen within that time frame. Yeah.
I'm the only one optimistic here.
Alex?
Okay, this is the answer. This is the answer. China, 6 months, US, 1 year, Germany, 10 years.
Great. What a wonderful discussion. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining us today for the future of NFT discussion. I think there is lots of things to be done. So definitely we learned today that NFT is going to stay here. But apart from that, we have like lots of hurdle issues and there is like lots of work to be done. So like apart from speculation, tech is going to stay here. Blockchain is going to stay here. And I would like to thank you, all of you, once again. Thank you, our audience, for joining us. Thank you for the wonderful speaker panelists. And lastly, I would like to thank you, our media partner, Bean Crypto and BTC Eco, and of course, our event partner, Dissemination Network. And apart from that, guys, please feel free to log into our website, hop into our website, blockrocket.io, if you or your relatives, your colleagues working from their basement on amazing idea and developing some blockchain-based startup, then we can definitely look into their business plan, and we invest up to 150,000 euro ticket size into idea or seed stage blockchain-based startup. And definitely feel free to reach out to us. And thank you once again, everyone, and have a nice evening.